You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
No parking. No, between.
You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly. You have successfully joined the webcast. Please stand by. The meeting will begin shortly.
Good evening. Welcome to the Village of Wappinger Falls monthly regular meeting of the Mayor and Board of Trustees for today, Wednesday, August 10th, 2022. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for our attendees, Mrs. Rogers and Mrs. Mazzocchi. Before we get going, we have a workshop at the end of the month. We might need to change the date of the workshop. So, as it stands right now, it would be the 31st of the month. So I know there's a conflict with, is it the attorney for the 31st? Okay, so,
Well, I won't be here the 31st either.
okay. Will you be here for the 30th?
No, I'm going for that whole week.
About 24th, the week before.
I think Adam will be off on the 24th. So,
I can do the 25th of that week, and I can also do Monday the 22nd.
okay.
I could do the 22nd also, remember, it's quick. I got a meeting at 7.
I have set up interviews for the treasurer. So those dates are the 17th, the 22nd, and the 24th. So can we do, is the 25th an issue? Jen?
Not for me.
Is the 25th an issue with you, Craig? I could be here.
I'm
It's
good.
not an issue with me.
I'm good. Anybody else is good?
The only one would be Pat missing.
Yeah, no, I think I'll be here. I don't leave till. Yeah, okay, let's do that.
Can we do 6:30 instead of 6, please?
Anybody have an issue with 6:30? I hear no responses, so I guess 6:30 for the 25th
Thank you.
seems to be a go. Okay. So that will be, our workshop will be on the 25th at 6:30 p.m. Okay. Thank you. Roll call.
Mayor Sereno,
Present.
Trustee Sidoti,
Here.
Trustee Tilichek is absent. Trustee Niznik. Here. Trustee Huber,
Yeah.
Trustee Ruffin? Absent. Trustee Laura Selly?
Here.
Village Attorney Wallace?
Here.
Action on the minutes of 7:13 and 7:27.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mayor votes aye. Carried. I know the Finance Committee was in, signed some bills, so is there a motion to pay the bills as per approved warrants?
Just two quick things. One was there'd been an accounting error that led to an overage to one of our consultants. The overage was brought to our attention, and in an email has agreed to allow us to offset paying of these current 3 outstanding invoices, a reduced amount to get us straight. So though they were signed as is, we'll have to direct our interim treasurer to modify it, if that's cool
So-
with everybody.
Well, in essence, what you're saying, the 3 vouchers for this period will be used to offset
The overage,
the
we'll
duplication.
right, we'll withhold funds, a portion of those funds, and send out a much smaller amount, which will then get us right. But the 3 of us have signed the current warrant, so we just have to edit that.
Okay.
Okay, and then I did bring this, this invoice for the auto repair. Is there value in discussing it or not? Or is it appropriate to discuss or not?
I think we will withhold that payment
Okay,
in this, so the motion to pay the bills except the police car payment and the consultant payment,
yes,
we'll pay them in full.
okay, excellent. So I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. So, in this approval to balance personnel contract negotiations, labor relations member between the wards, I would say to balance it out, we have 2 from the 2nd ward and 1 from the 3rd ward, none from the 1st ward. I will take the slot on the 1st ward to start off these negotiations, and if I need to move someone else to the 1st ward, from the 1st ward, I will. But as it stands, I'll take the 1st ward slot. And so either trustee Niznik or Ruffin can battle it out to see who wants to be on the negotiation and labor relations team. I'll leave it to their choice. But I will take the 1st ward slot for now. I expect that we will open up contract negotiations in November. So we can decide between the 2 of you who will represent us. But as it stands right now, I'll take the 1st ward slot. I also, at this time, since we're in negotiations, I would like the board to I'm going to select trustee Huber on this one. Trustee Huber and myself, there's an overdue contract with Hydroelectric, and we would like, I'm going to request that we engage, oh God, I'm at a loss for words right now, for the attorney.
Renegotiate their contract.
Yeah, that we negotiate this contract with,
Harry and Sarah.
well, Harry Turbish, but the attorney who did it last time. Jim Haran. With Jim Haran. So I'm asking the board to approve trustee Huber and myself and Jim Haran to open up this negotiation with the hydroelectric plant.
I'll make the motion to make that, put that in place.
Before you agree, though, I just wanted to be clear that Jim Moran's a member of my firm, and I want you to know that you'd be hiring him as a member of my firm to represent the village, to do that, given his intimate knowledge with that prior contract. He renegotiated prior, when he was a member of the Stanger Law Firm.
He did it in 2006, 2007.
But it's a logical choice.
Yes.
Thanks for clarifying. Motion stands. Make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Mayor votes aye. Monthly updates. Police. Progress.
Did you say police?
Yeah.
One thing that has become increasingly clear through a combination of discussions with Commissioner Ferry, and a lot of discussion with residents, other village employees, and the like, there is some real challenges to our ability to monitor the conduct in our parks, particularly Veterans Park. And so we've had conversations in the past about having a camera system put in place. And the procurement process has been a little bit lax, and we haven't really put any one particular person in charge. Commissioner Ferry has reached out to certain contacts and spoken with the outfit that does some of the other surveillance for the police department. But I think it's important that we really set forth an exploratory effort to get real quotes and try to see if we can secure some funding, and perhaps our grant consultant Lori Java, who's here tonight, can possibly find some money, or maybe there's money elsewhere. I think we're probably somewhere in the $5,000 to $10,000 range, but the police are already monitoring it, and they're doing things properly. But unless you're just happen to be there and catch it, it's a challenge. But day after day, and some of the light has been really shined upon this problem, because now, as you know, we have camp. So Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. or 8:30 a.m., our camp staff is arriving and finding a lot of issues, whether it be vandalism, garbage, and certain destructive behavior. So we've circled the wagons on this and really not been fruitful, but I'm hoping that maybe the board would support a real effort to get an estimate, or three estimates, and then try to see if we can find the funding for it and perhaps move forward in a legitimate contract for for cameras in the parks.
I agree.
Do we know what we need yet? We're gonna have to have somebody come in and tell us what we need and then get some quotes that are equal to each other? Or how are we gonna get it linked to the does the PD have a suggestion to
Well,
link it to them or close?
There's
fees?
different ways we can do it. We can have it go there. One of the more cost-effective ways that have been articulated to us by some of the other companies is you could also have the hard drive that records the data on site at the park. Should something happen, then the officers go there. There's going to be different ways to do it. We're going to want to do, the most cost-effective, but one that's going to actually be helpful. So I think that the commissioner has and certainly the other officers there have a grasp on what would be needed, but also we would welcome the suggestion of whatever outfits do give us proper quotes. I just don't know what else to do, because barring having someone sitting there, it's just a cyclical broken record of us having to be reactionary, the hour before we welcome our children to the camp.
Can't, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
for it.
All right, so
And it
do
seems to be
we,
getting worse every year.
so we have to wait until Clerk Carge is our procurement czar, but does this get done with a motion, or how do we, a little guidance?
I'll make a motion, we go out to get 3 quotes for cameras for our park with the assistance of the police commissioner and a few of the officers.
Great. I'll second it.
Motion and a second to get some quotes for
Yeah,
some cameras.
I seconded it.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
All in favor? Mayor votes aye.
Thank you.
Carried. Finance?
Well, we're waiting for some finalized dates to have our prospects for our new treasurer. Our interim treasurer has agreed to make herself available, which is greatly appreciated and extremely important, because I think I know that I myself need a little outside expertise to make sure that our next candidate is the right one. You could maybe speak more to that if you think it's important. Otherwise, things have been going, I think, fairly smooth. Even though we're in an interim situation, Jessica McMahon has been very helpful.
So with that said, it appears, according to my discussion with you, I will get in touch with Trustee Ruffin and say that we have an agreement on the 22nd based upon my conversation with you.
Okay.
And I can make that night. So that's the target date for the interviews with the 3 of them that we have right now. I suspect there might be another 1 or 2 when we move forward, but we'll start that round. So, and I'll talk to Trustee Ruffin. Okay. Highway?
Okay, so the alleyway owned by us between 10 Market the drainage has been addressed, the catch basins have been installed, and that's on its way to being 100% completed. We've also taken possession of our dump truck, sander, and plow that was, that we ordered about a year and a half ago. That's been delivered. Also, our other dump truck that was out of commission for several months has been finished at Poughkeepsie Ford. So those pieces of equipment are in service, and currently our highway department is working on sidewalks, amongst other things. That's all.
Fire and Lake?
Fire, I only got one thing. Fire department has received a grant for $51,000 for cameras and gas meters, thanks to Miss Lori Java on that. In the lake, there's biochar socks out there. I think they'll be pulled either next week or the following week.
Yeah, like right before the 29th, I think. they're gonna
29th?
come out.
Ah, so
Then they'll send them for sampling,
another 2 weeks.
and then we'll have a report.
All right. That's all I have.
What should be noted on that grant, it's a 90-10 if I'm not mistaken, so we're on the hook for 10%. But it's still a great deal, $51,000, we gotta pay 50.
51,000, I believe, is completely 100%.
Fire department's 51,100%.
51,000, 100%, we pay nothing.
Oh, I thought it was a 90-10.
Now that's 100% from the county. But when we get the contract in, I'll have you review it.
Okay,
They haven't sent it just yet.
okay, my mistake, thank
No,
you.
it's fine.
Safety, the clerk is not here. He did a safety inspection, and it's on the next page on a couple items. So he got additional 90 COVID test kits obtained from the county, which expire in November 1st of this year. Mizzier Homestead was still not in compliance with our safety standards. The follow-up meeting is October 4th. There was an issue with location of fire extinguishers and the safety and the stair rail. The pilot program, pedestrian safety and crosswalk caution flags at select crosswalks. This was going to be Commissioner Ferry and a guest who was going to speak about it. Is that still happening?
Yeah, well, I'm going to speak about it because Marcus was unable to attend at the last minute, but I did meet with Marcus and his mother and Commissioner Ferry today to discuss a series of things. One of the low-cost, low-tech thoughts some of the other municipalities like Kingston are exploring are these ideas of having some flags at some key, we've identified a few that might be good to start at, but flags on either side of the road at the crosswalk. And if pedestrians choose to take a flag when they cross across, it may increase the visibility because we continue to have issues. Today, in fact, we had a automobile accident. It didn't involve a pedestrian, but it was at a crosswalk. And so that's one of the thoughts. We've also would like to put out some literature. Commissioner Ferry thought another a good thing to do would be to revisit some strategic bollards that we had at one point in the centers near certain crosswalks. And that's been suggested by several people, at the county and some others, that it would be smart to try to increase the friction down that Main Street corridor to try to slow some drivers down. So he was looking for, I believe the pilot program for the flags would cost pretty close to $250. So pretty low tech, and we think we would start it at the Mizzier Park, like South Mizzier, in between South Mizzier, North Mizzier, and West Main, because that's a high traffic. And then another one would be over by St. Mary's, right on that really tricky
Convent Avenue?
Convent, yeah. So we'd like to try them there. The bollards would be positioned to be determined. The price, I believe, for each bollard, and he thinks he would like to just start with 3, is $500. They go in the middle. We've had them in the past.
Where was he suggesting?
It's a little unclear. Some of it depends on the width of the road, because one of the issues was he believed they were put in areas years prior that were a little too narrow, and some of these semi trucks crushed them, which.
We just gotta, we really can't do anything on a state road without approval, so that would be
Right.
the main road going through.
Well, you're allowed to, yeah, they'd be on the main road,
Yeah.
and they have to be close to, they have to be right at the crosswalks. So it's just which crosswalks.
Right at the crosswalk and not several feet back from the crosswalk, you're saying? Because
They have to be there's a sweet spot.
Yeah.
Wherever the sweet spot is where we would do it.
they used to do it up on West Main Street in front of my house, and have, actually, that Ballard would be in the center line.
Right.
And I would, if I was coming in from Poughkeepsie, I could not turn into my driveway because that Ballard was in my way. You know what I'm saying? So when I
All those signs
had
that
to
were-
turn in my driveway.
Oh, I guess.
So I like the idea, but we got to really watch where we put them.
Yeah.
You know, in them areas up there, because my side of the street is not as wide as the other side. So.
So you're talking about the ones in the middle of the line that flop out
Correct.
if you hit
Yeah.
them? Okay, I remember them being out.
And then lastly, so there, we would need to find, if the board does agree that there's some interest in that, we'd like to find some funding for it. Then one of the other things that we're gonna look for to support, we kind of came up with an idea that perhaps we could, give out to artists in the community. It would be nice if they were specific to the Village of Wappingers or Wappingers proper, but it doesn't have to be. And maybe they would be pedestrian cutouts, so resemble like the shape of the person that's in the crosswalk. And we'd give them to say a dozen artists that would then create a piece of art that would be in front of a business, and the goal is really to bring pedestrian awareness, and we'd like to try to shoot for some kind of grassroots project like that, and then lastly perhaps putting a banner in the month of October, which is Pedestrian Safety Awareness Month, or something like that, across Main Street. It's an important thing, and we've repeatedly getting residents and visitors sending emails and other communications with concerns about the walkability. And I know through our new comp plan, for example, our previous comp plan, walkability is touted and celebrated, but it's an issue if it's not being done safely. So those are all those things. I wish Marcus was here to be able to talk. Does anyone have any thoughts or opinions?
Yeah, I would like to just add that DPW will have to obviously notify DOT of any intended, location where these signs would be, just to put them on notice. Sometimes the state will have comment, sometimes they'll defer to the local municipality as a local concern, but it's just, please copy Pete to anything. You gotta make sure that he's on board and he communicates at least to DOT.
I wonder if we currently have any of those ones left that we used prior.
I think so. That's a good down the highway garage still.
We could check on that too.
That would be great.
If there's
I
some-
assumed that maybe when.
they might just need new signage
Yeah,
on.
yeah, that's great.
So we'll look into that. So I'm on board with exploring these options, maybe try to find some, funding.
All right. I will report back to the commissioner, and we'll try to get the ball rolling. Thank you.
Very good. I'll jump over to recreation for a moment. Trustee Tilichek's not here. And he will give his maybe double report at the next time. Water, I'll let Kevin give that report. I would just say that the commissioners did nominate a water chairman, and And that tentatively, I use that word tentatively, is Jeff Smith. He needs to formally accept. And Kevin, you can add whatever else.
Water is, hasn't changed much. We recouped some money from 2 outside users that paid up in full, and that's really it. We are working on we have a discussion, and we're trying to work it out. I don't want to bring it up right now. I can bring it up in executive session, but it's a touchy one, and that's it. And water.
All right. Personnel?
Other than the hiring of the treasurer, nothing personnel.
Okay. Sewer, progress. Went to the last meeting, basically the same old stuff. They are looking to access a grant that I believe the village got for the commission. That will probably be in the next couple of months. They'll talk more about that. I will, the discussion on the health benefit will go to executive session. Anything else? Anything from? Anything, Lori? I will say on the LWRP, those Cornell extension bills are in the bills to be paid, so.
Yeah, if it's okay with the board, I just wanted to highlight a couple of things for you in case you had any questions on this. Jen, can you hear me, or do you want me to start?
I can hear you.
So the bus stop program, because I say I'll keep you updated on it, there's been 749 issued violations. Out of that, 436 have paid. So that's $25 each that we get in a fine. 86 have...
Sorry, Lori, how often is that dispersed?
Well, I just had to redo their implementation program for wire transfers. So Jessica and I had done it with John Carge in February because it was before they started the program.
So when it's paid, it's dispersed? It's not like once a
It's
month?
dispersed monthly to us. So they're going to be giving us our first lump because I had to reconfirm our wire accounts because Jessica gave me the wire account, and when they went to do it, Andrew wanted to use a different account. So Jessica said, no, that's the same account. So I redid the paperwork today for them. So we'll be getting the ones that have been paid in full transferred in. And I think, I don't know the calculator, I mean, it's about $10,000 so far that have been paid. 86 have been contested. I was in court with our special prosecutor, Dan Speranza, because we had to help with people that come in to argue over the violation itself. Out of the 4 of them, 3 decided to just pay in the room before they got before the judge and were imposed another fee when they saw their cars on video. So it was interesting. But so there's more contestations coming in. The courts are now prepared to handle them because now we're coming up with a system, and that's where we stand right now. So it's $10,000 so far that we've collected, and there's 300 and some more tickets to go. As Kevin mentioned, we were awarded the MIG grant from the county. That was about $51,000. It was what the fire commissioners and the chief said that they needed as far as equipment was concerned. We did ask for more. We asked for $76,000. When I had an offline conversation with one of the leaders up at the county, they said that the money we asked for the infrastructure repair for the parapet was probably, because they don't have the paperwork in front of them, denied because it wasn't to increase capacity. So in other words, we weren't adding on to our firehouse to become more efficient. We were looking for a repair. Once we get that contract in and I go over with the mayor and Kevin or whoever else wants to go over it, we'll look, and then if that's the case, and that's where they cut us, because they always says, well, are you willing to accept less? If they're going to cut us in the infrastructure, then maybe we'll look at some of the other places we've gotten money from that we weren't going to get, and maybe try to get 3 quotes, because it is a safety concern. If the parapet falls, it's dangerous. So we'll look at some of the money we recouped that we didn't expect to see if we can pay for it out of that. New York State Governor's Safety Committee grant, we were awarded. What that is, and that ties into your safety conversation, is there's going to be special details for the village PD that are actually paid for. So the police department will put details on, and it has to correlate with Ticket or Click It. So when I did this grant with the commissioner, we focused on their, sorry, ladies, I forgot. We had to focus on your high density areas and accidents. And fortunately, the village is really good about keeping accidents to a minimum, but East Main is a drag race and West Main is, you know, especially up where you live and where Adam's shop is. So we focused on them, and the Ticket and Click It will go in concert with speed and violations of traffic devices, whether it be a stop sign or something like that. So there'll be details, they're paid for, the grant will pay it 100%. So the commissioner and I will work on that this fall because it's a 2023 program in the winter. But this will help us increase safety awareness. And maybe we can have some of your safety ideas implemented by then to tie in. As we spoke, the consolidated funding application was submitted on the 29th. We asked for $52,000, and that is to finish the comp plan. Although most of the meat and potatoes have been, you know, done, you still have a lot of legal work to do. You have to notify for postings for public hearings. You know, John and Heather, I'm sure, have work to do in it, and there's more work that's going to have to go back and forth. With that, we are responsible for 10%. So out of $52,000, if we're awarded the whole thing, we have to pay $5,200 of it, but that's better than paying 100%. So we got that in and done in time. We are waiting for the Department of Justice grant for the PD. They want to become an accredited agency. With that means that they will receive training, best practices, new policies and procedures. So if we get it, it's really kudos to us. Quick Start grant, I know, Pat, you know, this is about the trees. I had lengthy conversations with them. They said, and I'm waiting for Jessica because I just don't want to overwhelm her. If we can come up with the receipts or invoices for stakes, bags, whatever, then we can keep what we have and not have to fulfill the other requirements. So I'll keep you posted. LWRP, as Kevin mentioned, the biochar will be being pulled out in a week or so out of the lake and Green Pond in Wappinger. And then they'll test for biochar. They'll get samples of what was in there, what kind of nutrients or, you know, God forbid, toxins, what have you. Cornell Cooperative had put through bills, I just want you to know, to me from 2019 that had not been submitted for payment. I don't know what the previous person in my capacity did with them, but I went through the motions with them, and the mayor has signed and executed them so we can get that remedied. I held off putting in for our reimbursement to the Department of State because of that, because it is quite exorbitant. I want to make sure that at least it's paid before I ask for reimbursement. So that'll be in there, and I'll give you numbers hopefully by the next meeting of what we'll be receiving back. This next one we can talk about maybe at your workshop. That's just the grant that we had been awarded for Pagy Terrace Sewer Extension. That was going to go to the wayside, the $116,000. I asked the county, since it was approved for us, if we could repurpose it for something that we need. You know, that has to fall in line with your recreation, so we can have a conversation at the workshop and you guys can all think about some different ideas. But they have right now tentatively approved it to put it towards the new park we were going to do, so we wouldn't be at a deficit. But I know you want to discuss that further at a different time. State and county grants, I have to put in for Franny Reese and Boathouse reimbursement. Now that Jessica's back, for the interim, I can get what I need to submit for reimbursement. So that I'll give you numbers next time. To dovetail off Kevin's water report, the WIA grants came out, so we are, with your permission, going to apply for the filtration system. If we get it, you know, that's great. The way it works is this. Generally, the EFC will give us 40 to 60% for a project, and it depends on two factors. One, if we have contaminants in our water, we get the higher amount. We do. We have a manganese issue. So that's what we're going to be applying for, is 60%. That's the most that they'll give us. And then they can apply for 0% financing for the rest, and you can still look for other grants with other consortiums to offset the residual. This project will take some time, so we have more time to look for other grants. NYSERDA Zero Energy, We were notified that we most likely, and I'm pretty sure of it, qualified for free charging station for electric vehicles because of our demographics. I did speak briefly with Tom Morris. If it's okay with the pleasure of the board, I will continue that conversation. The grant is due in September. He had his sights set on maybe Mill Street parking lot, because then when people are charging, they are frequenting your retail and your eateries, and it's generating sales tax. So I will keep you abreast of that. I spoke with Superintendent Paggi after the water board meeting real briefly, because this WIA grant also ties in with sewer and wastewater. If our engineer has like linear dimensions and whatnot and specs, I can then throw in one of his high priority wastewater with the water filtration. So I'll hear more of that from him. And then Adam, I think this really dovetails to what we talked about last week, the Downtown Revitalization Initiative. We can have a full conversation, any of us can, on it. But if I didn't get a letter of intent in today to say that we may be applying for it in September, we were out, so I did. I just said that we were, had intentions of possibly looking into applying for the grant by September. And, you guys can put together a little soiree or committee and we can sit down and discuss it. But I'll get you the particulars. I just wanted you to know that I definitely sent that letter in, so we were in a deadline.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then the rest of it really is just about the downtown revitalization grant. So this way, if you have any questions, just ask me, but there's so much out there going on, I didn't want to overwhelm you.
Thank you.
And that's it. You're welcome.
Thank you, Lauren.
You're welcome. But I don't know if you want to ask the mayor, maybe one of you, if we can move forward with the conversations with Tom Morris for Zero Energy.
I'll make the
And
motion.
it's for the WIA grant. I just want to make sure that you guys are abreast of it and know that that was where we were headed.
I'll second Trustee Huber's motion.
I think that's a good idea.
Exactly what is the motion?
To move forward with the WIA, with the EFC grants for water and wastewater, and to move forward with NYSERDA Zero Energy, and I guess to have them the conversations for the downtown revitalization.
Yeah, all three.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
With that said, we'll have, I believe, possibly two things in executive session. So is there a motion to adjourn to executive session?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second. No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye.
To clarify,
Aye, pardon?
Who was the second?
Oh, I think it was
Was it Kevin or Pat?
Pat.
Either one.
it's for the purpose, is this for the purpose of discussing an employment history of a particular individual?
I have to discuss something to do with the residential garbage.
Seeking legal advice for residential garbage and employment issue.
Yes.
Okay. Just want the record to reflect.
Thank you, Lori.
If anybody
Thank
has
you
any
so
questions,
much.
call me anytime. Good night, ladies. Take care. Bye. Bye-bye.
Yes.
I know we had the motion and a second.
All those in favor?
Yeah. I know we got the motion in the second. I don't know if we got the vote.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, later. You got the order, so yeah.
I said possibly two.